recording and streaming. Follow me, twitch.tv/firewordsun. Hit that rate. What we're going to do is we're going to export this to bring to Unity. Now, there are two types of export. If I go to File, Export, there's an export which exports everything in the scene. For me, it's fine because I literally only have the box in there, so it's grand. But this is a problem if you have other things in the scene, or if you have stuff that's hidden away that you like. Have I shown you hiding yet? Like just this little thing here. So you might have some other stuff in there. So like if I had a sphere before and I was doing shit with it, and then I turned that off, export will export the box and the sphere, even though it's hidden, and they'll both be visible. And you'll be in Unity with one object with a box and a sphere, and you're like, what? So just be careful with that. To make it safe, you can also just click exactly what you want to export. File, Export, Selected. This is the last chance before you go into Unity, just to make sure your pivot points are correct. So here's my effect pivot only. Mine is exactly in the center, in the bottom, completely fine. It's centered on the line. I'm G. So just make sure that's okay. And then we'll just File, Export, and Export Selected. And export it somewhere where you know where it is. I had a Jambon and I feel a lot better. Was I very grumpy this morning?
Yeah.
You seem to be in a trance.
I had no Jambons. And people didn't have their programs on.
So we need to start like praying like weekly sacrifices.
I wasn't gonna say like, why would you ask that? Because yes. What am I looking for? Oh yeah, box. Okay, so what kind of export are we exporting as? It's an FBX. Okay, so there's tons of different types of exports. If you ever have a problem and it's not working in some other program or Unity or something, the safe option is OBJ because it's an older format and everything kind of accepts OBJ. OBJ I found has some issues with animations and with scale. So FBX works a lot better for me in general. But just so you know, in case there's ever a problem, there is this OBJ that should work. So I'm going to export this in FBX, which is an Autodesk specific format, but Unity can read it. And we're going to save that, and you'll see a dialog box option show up that looks a bit scary, but it's not really not. So the first thing is this FBX export basically asks you what you want to export and what you don't want to export. So for example, animation, we have no animation. So I can just completely untick the entire animation section. I don't have any cameras, I can untick. I don't have any lights. The advanced units, leave the advanced units on. We've already set it to meters, so it should be okay. And it should come in Unity as 1 by 1 by 1. The axis conversion, leave that, like, I think Y up is correct, because I think, is Unity Y up? Yeah, so like that's fine. It will convert, because in Max, it used to be a huge problem, like ages ago. But I think Z is up in Max, I want to say. Yeah, Z is up. So this will convert it, so Y is up. So it won't. Your model will work properly. Before, when I first started modeling, every time you brought it into Unity, it would be like, you know, on its side because it's a different axis. So this will convert it. And then geometry up the top here. Smoothing groups, we want smoothing groups. We don't have any yet, but just get in a good habit of doing this. We do not want turbo smooth.
That is not any colliders and those. We'll have to put those on that.
Yeah, the colliders are a Unity thing.
Okay.
All Max does is geometry, so like polygons, and texturing, unwrapping and texturing. Okay. Everything else is done in Unity. So where was I? Oh yeah, embed media. So here's the thing which is controversial. A lot of people go, just embed the media, because then what that means is the texture that you added on will be exported as well. It'll be in the same FBX package. I personally am very much on the side of do not embed media for many reasons. But one of them is if you change the texture, it's a lot easier. You can just change it. You separate the model from the textures. You get control of where you want to put your textures, because if you embed media, when you import to Unity, it'll import the model and it'll import like a little folder, and the little folder will have a texture in there. So if I want to have like a folder where all the textures are in, I need to go look at old fill folders and drag them in. It's just big pain. So my personal thing is do not embed media. But some people will say embed media. So just FYI, there's a lot of stuff online that works for them. For game development, I've always found it easier not to embed the media. So, okay. And you should see that it did a thing and now it's exported. It should be in where I exported it to, which is asset design. Where's asset design? There. And there it is, box.fbx. Say what?
Did you make that up?
I didn't make Lara Croft. No, those were for examples.
Oh.
No. I have a limit. I coded by time.
Moana is the limit, yeah.
Lara Croft is very complicated. She's real complicated. Let's have a look at her. I don't think I have the... No, that's the full... Yeah, there we go. She's actually not that bad. No, but like, but that's her base. That's it, yeah. No, that's not Alloy. That's from Cinema Sacrifice. I think Alloy is in here somewhere. Yeah. And then this is like, what's his name? What, who? Yeah. This was from a thread of people asking polycounts, and they ripped them from games. But the problem is some of these are cutscene models, and some of them are actual models.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to figure out which one is like, yeah. Like this is Life is Strange. What? What? She's great, Max.
I hate her.
Do you hate her, Max?
Oh, she's a weird little cow.
Well, life's hard though.
It's not that.
Okay, yeah, the rest are. But yeah, it was just to try and figure out like what the polycounts were. You can see though in the face, as I was saying last week, the face is always the highest concentration of polys because it's where most of the detail is. And you can see that in all of them, like the face is just like polygons. But yeah, a lot of these are probably cutscene models. Like this is a cutscene model, for example. It's like crazy high res. Yeah, but it's a lot easier than it looks because we will be doing high poly later on. You don't literally go in and select every single vertex. Okay, we're doing it.
I know the hair is a separate thing.
There.
Do they make them?
Yeah, see, like each one of these is a. Oh yeah, it's a.
There's hair in 3DS.
I
Looks so weird.
But the hair in 3ds Max doesn't work in Unity, so you have to do these things called cards. You can see even her eyelids or that, her eyelashes even. Sorry, they're cards, and cards are like this because they look like cards, and they're just like this, and they have a texture that's transparent, but only shows like some hair bits. So it's kind of like, it's like. If you zoom into a game model, you'll see a lot of their hair is all like, 15 strands will all be exactly in the same plane because they are on the same, card. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so, but that's really advanced stuff. So we're back to our box. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we've exported it. It's fine. Oh, save. And then I'm going to open up Unity. And we're just going to import this into any old project. Cool. I'm going to put it in my test, I guess. Whatever. What? What do you say? Oh, the names. Yeah, I know. I give out to you about naming conventions, and I myself do whatever. But I have a naming convention. They're so good. This is linked in the recommendations. Y'all know that, right?
Is this on the Discord?
Yeah. Oh my! Like that's why I keep. I'm literally telling you, it's so much easier because everything goes. Look, recommendations, pinned. Here's in the recommendations. Click on that sheet. And this is like all the recommendations of games to look at, laptop specs. Someone put this together for you. Books, movies, TV shows, electronics. Yeah, this is the laptop spec here, the dog. YouTube channels to look at, tutorials of drawing and stuff like that. It's all here. That's just in recommendations. And then how to draw good is in digital painting. and pin messages. There is drawing related stuff. That is that how to draw good tips. And every time I find something online that I think is really handy, let's see if I can do it like that. How do I do it here then? They're just a bunch of like little tutorial bits that show you how to do different things. This one is specifically for drawing, but they're all in there. Oh, okay, that's good. I think you can, yeah. I think, yeah, you should be able to. I'm pretty sure it's open. If it's not, let me know. But like, yeah, every time I find something interesting, like, these are really useful. Like, they're on how to draw lips and stuff. There's loads of stuff in there. So this is why we have the Discord. It's not just for no reason. Say what? We don't use, yeah, Pinterest has loads. But we don't use Pinterest because it's just effort like, but then this.
It is.
Yeah. So. Oh no, there's really good stuff, and like for drawing specifically, this is kind of off topic, but while it's loading, whatevs. There's two Instagram people I really like. Oh no, it's gonna be loud. This is digital. I don't know. She's having an egg salad, I guess. Nope, I'm talking her name. What am I doing? What am I looking for?
Instagram.
Oh yeah, drawing. God damn, come on. Drawing. This one, drawing_tutors. It's pretty good. So they do kind of like a lot of that stuff that I link in there. So I often just grab it and put it in. Obviously, some stuff is not safe for work, but if you're adults, you know. Yeah, if you're like. Just sometimes this. And the other one is Grizz and Norm, I think. Grizz and Norm. They're real good as well. They work at like Disney, like, so they do really good like they have their sketches, but then every so often they'll do like really interesting breakdowns that are like, this is exactly how we do it. And this stuff is good for 3D modeling as well, because like say if you're going to do a character, kind of know the proportions.
What style is that in? Is that in color? What style the
It's a what? Sorry.
The style of that one. The promotional stuff.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like very 60s fashion drawing style, yeah. And then like here, this is like technical stuff of like how to do. This is about color, hue, value, saturation. So it's really good. They're really, and then sometimes just weird stuff like this, like that say I would not have a fucking clue about, but then this helps a lot. Because I would just go, oh well, it's just a dress, which is basically a t-shirt, small. But yeah, this is really good. Why are you shaking your head at me? I'm such a what? Like I did. Who? Does people wear this? Never seen one. It looks deadly. I would never have drawn it if I didn't go off and look at this. So they're really useful. Yeah, but like there's. Okay. Yeah. So like they do a lot of these kind of little tips and stuff. I really like them. Yeah, the dog's pretty good. So either way, those things are all in Discord. All of them. Why did I open this project? Is your Unity still not open?
No, it says it's already open.
Okay. So let me just make a. I should not have opened the project. Either way, let me just make a new folder so it's easier. Asset design. You're welcome. And I'll just import into here. So just like importing any asset, right click, import new asset, and find that FBX. And as I said, this is why I like doing not embedded media. It just comes in with just a model, only the model by itself. If you drag it in, it's just a box. That's why we didn't embed media, so it's not here. So if I right click here, I can import the texture, or I can even create a folder that holds all the textures, and that way I can put all the textures in here which just makes my life a lot easier. That's why I don't like Embedding Media, because Embed Media will make its own little separate folder, and the separate folder would be called like box 001 or something, and then it just gets messy.
You can do texture and put it on the box folder. Do what it
I'm
did.
literally going to do that now.
Okay.
So I'm going to find the box texture.jpg here. So that's my imported texture, okay? Let me just go through this stuff real quick. Well, we don't have much time. But anyway, texture default, that's fine. It is a 2D texture, that's fine. Alpha source is whether it's got transparency or not, and whether it's going to be taken from the texture. You do kind of want it. We don't have any transparency now. Just click alpha as transparency. We don't have it now, but it will be useful later. MIP maps are this thing. Remember the level of detail thing? So literally when it's further away, it will create a crappier version of the texture that will be used when it's further away. That's what MIP maps are. Okay? If you ever see rendering issues where like you move a little bit far away and it gets all weird and terrible, this is the first thing to look at. Sometimes the MIP maps are, you may not want them to be on, especially if you're never going too far away from your object. So I'm going to hit apply to all of that. So that's the texture we have. Let me just right click, and remember I need a material, because remember from this, all these maps go onto the material and the material goes onto the map. Okay? So I'm going to make the material in here. You just right click and create material. I'm going to call it box material, just so I know. Now this is where we start thinking of like, we should probably have naming conventions. Okay, so some people do like material underscore box, so everything is material and you look for which one you want. Some people do box underscore material. Don't care, whatever you have, standardized in your team. So I'm going to do material underscore box, why not? So every time I look for material, I'll see all the materials and I can just scroll through to look for the box one. So I can do material underscore box, that's fine. And then this I'll do like texture underscore box underscore diffuse, or albedo, sorry, albedo. So I know that that's texture, and then I know that it's a texture for the box, and I know that it's the albedo texture for the box. Is that cool? It seems like a really small thing, but when you start getting to very complicated projects, it gets very, very messy very fast. So albedo goes into the albedo section. Wabay. Boop. And you can see it working here. And that's cool. But it's not on this because I need to drag the material onto it. Job done. It looks like pretty good in Unity. Okay? Now, we have the other maps here. I don't have a lot of time, but let's see what we can do. I'm just going to copy this. Control D. And I'll call it texture underscore box underscore normal maps. So,
You know when you got the texture of the box and it knew how it was mapped out in...
Because I already unwrapped it. So the unwrap is the coordinates section. So it literally just goes, here's a texture, put the polygon, I don't care what the texture looks like, but this polygon always is in this position. And because the texture that I'm using in that position has wood, it looks like wood. I can swap it. I can literally go like open this in Show in Explorer, and I can open this in Photoshop. I waste so much time of my life waiting for programs to open. I don't know who that poor model is, but like, I hate her a little bit. Because I always look at her face when I'm waiting for stuff to open. It's just like, oh, come on. So let's say I just grab a brush. Why am I on this brush? Let me grab any old whatever, and I'll do like there, and I'll just draw whatevs. So like, and I'll just save that, and where I'm saving into the Unity folder, and Unity automatically updates, right? So if you go back to there we go, and it just goes there. Because the polygon knows to take that part of the texture. Okay, so it just updates. And you can see like the directions are based on how we unwrapped. So yeah, so that's done. I made a copy of this. I'm going to open this one in Photoshop. Normal map. I don't know why I call it normal maps. Normal map. And open with Photoshop. and I'm going to do a trick. So if you're ever stuck, like in the future, we'll look at better ways to do normal maps, but this is a really quick and easy, dirty way if you're real stuck. You just make it black and white. So image, adjustments, hue saturation, and drag down saturation. Now it's completely black and white. Now what will happen is Unity will take anywhere that's black and make it deeper, like make it look like it's a valley, and everywhere that's white, it'll make it look like it's a little bump up, okay? It'll kind of convert it to that, which is bad because that means I'll have like little tiny ridges here, which are not exactly correct. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of not exactly what a real box would look like, but it's good enough to trick most people, and we'll see that. The other thing I can also do is image adjustments, and I'll do like a little contrast on it just to make the blacks, you know, darker and the whites lighter, if that makes sense. So I'll just kind of do that, okay? So then these will be pushed down even deeper. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll save that. You should see the update in Unity. It should go black and white. Okay, cool. Now the thing is, Unity doesn't know this is a normal map. Okay, so it as far as Unity knows, it's just a texture with could have color, doesn't have color, doesn't know. But as soon as I drag it into the normal maps, so I'll bring it into normal map here, it'll be, you see it's all terrible, it looks all weird and stuff, and it goes, this texture is not marked as a normal map, and you can just click the fix now button. I didn't have this button, but y'all can just go, fix. Now it's fixed. Wait, fix, there we go. So can you see it being fixed? Like it has detail there now. If I change this to 0, it's completely flat. And if I change it to 1, you see it's got like little detail. Yeah. The problem as well is it's too smooth, so I can drag down smoothness, so it's less smooth. Now there's the detail. And you can see it's got a lot more detail than it would with that 0. That's no detail. But you probably don't want to have at 1. You probably want somewhere in between, something like that. Now you can also go back to the normal map, and you do need to click create from grayscale. Apply. You do need to create this. Oh, there we go. It's much better. Sorry, I forgot to create from grayscale, so it wasn't converting from black and white to, that was on the texture itself. So this create from grayscale, and the bumpiness controls like how deep and how high it pushes stuff, and then how sharp the details are. So smooth usually looks better, but you lose a bit of detail. So if I go back to my material, set this to 1. Can you see there's a lot of detail now there on it? And if I add a light in here, create a light, I'm going to create a point light. I'm going to make it just purple so you can see it clearer. Come on, buddy. So hopefully you can see that all the details are actually reacting to light. They're actually casting like shadows and stuff. If I turn it off again, just going to set this to 0. It looks completely flat when I rotate the point light around it. It's just like pure flat. Is that cool? So it is kind of a quick and easy and dirty way to get a normal map in if you're stuck for time. But it's not the best way, because you can see like this part was white, so it looks like it's a huge ridge up, which is kind of not really correct. So it's nice, yeah, it's just a nice simple way. And then the metallic, I'll just do that really quick. And metallic, I think black is not metallic at all, and the white is completely metallic. So let me just do this. I'll select all this area and set that to black, and I'll set this part to white, and I'll save this in the same folder but different name. So I'll save this as texture underscore box underscore metallic. Metallic. Okay. And if I go back to Unity, it shows up, and this just goes into the metallic section here. Boop. Okay. And I just drop down the smoothness. So you can see the metal parts are reacting like metal. They're quite shiny, and they pick up the light quite a lot because they're very metallic. But the wood is a lot less. You know, it doesn't reflect almost exactly as much. So it doesn't look quite. If I put it too high, it looks weird. So you generally want to slide the smoothness slider until you get a good amount of reaction. Now we will look at other programs where the smoothness is also baked into the metallic, but for now, wherever you want there to be metallic, it's white. That's white is pure metal, and black is completely not metallic at all. Okay? You can do grays, you can do in between. So I can do like, in this part I'll do like gray. And save that again. Okay. And now it's a lot less. I can pull this slider up a bit. So you can see that, you know, that's kind of how it works. And point play. And you see the metallic part is reacting very like metal. It's very smooth and shiny, but the wood doesn't do quite as much. Yeah? Or is that okay? Cool. Alright, so for next week, we'll finish up there. Get your box in Unity, import all the stuff for it, make a metallic. You don't have to follow exactly what I did. You can do stupid shit if you want to. Just make a metallic map for it and make a fake normal map for it. Okay?
So metallic and the
Fake normal map. Like literally what I've done, and it's going to be recorded. It's going to be on YouTube. Cool. I've also put in asset design. Wait, let me just save this box. I've also put into asset design a bunch of materials. It's in class. This is really nice now. In Google Classroom, you have this classwork thing. So it shows you materials, resources. So here, resources to understand PBR. Read some of these. They should explain how PBR works.